Is it live? Are we live? Are we live?
Yeah, do you have the app open on your phone? Yes, right here.
Okay, well, that's all. I don't know this app. Hey guys, welcome to the
No.
Conjurer's Table. It is me, Lucian, and I am here with the Wiz from Wizard's Tower.
Hi, everybody.
So today we are going to be talking about, actually, because everyone else does Tarot Tuesday, I decided to do Tarot Thursday. So for Tarot Thursday, guys, I'm going to start talking, actually, we together are going to be talking and comparing the symbolism within the tarot deck. So what we're going to be doing is Dave and I each have our own deck. I have the original Rider Waite, and Dave has...
I'm using my Wizard's Tarot.
And we're going to be comparing the symbolism between both decks and what we see and maybe the differences between the decks.
Get out of there.
So, with that said, what's going on?
Thor's being a pain in the butt.
Oh, he is. Oh, hold on.
I speak fluent cat hiss.
Oh, here I am.
But we got to say hi. Hi, long-haired, skinny-eyed toe.
Hi, Steven. And that's all we have for now. But that's okay. So, with that being started, so Dave and I are going to do this right away. And if you guys have questions, just please let people know to ask them at the end. Because we're obviously going to be kind of going through the cards, so we won't be looking that much at the chat at the moment. So, with that being said, Dave, let's get started.
Okay.
So, guys, the first card we are going to be working with today is obviously the Fool. So, let's get started. So, this is the Fool from my deck, the original Rider Waite.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Fool from Dave's deck.
Well, it's interesting because it's not a Fool. From the Wizard's Tarot, it's called the Initiate.
Yeah. So, here is the symbolism within the Fool. So first, we have the number 0. The number 0 representing infinite potential. Now, if you notice, the Fool is staring at the sky representing the universe that we live in. The cliff the Fool walks on represents the unknown, the path that he is walking along. We have the knapsack that he carries, which contains the 4 elements, the tools that he needs to walk on his journey. The fact that it's small also represents that the Fool is a minimalist. Next, we have the white rose that he carries in his hand, representing innocence and purity. The dog that's at his foot represents loyalty, protection, and also is urging the Fool to move forward. The mountains in the back here represent challenges that are yet to come, but are always present. But in the grand scheme of things, the Fool right now doesn't really have much of a care in the world. He's kind of taking each step as they come, and he's not focused on those issues that lie ahead. Right now, he's in the present state. He is ready to move forward and take that first step off the cliff into the unknown. Okay. So, Dave, what do you see in your card?
So, let me see the one.
Here.
So the Initiate, it's a little bit different, as you can see, but let's look at the similarities first. The Initiate has the knapsack, no dog but the bunny. So let's see. The Initiate represents all newcomers to the world of magic. She's the picture of purity and innocence, perched on the edge of monumental change. She is untested, naive, willing to trade her inexperience for wisdom. But she doesn't realize what her commitment will entail. Mm-hmm. The apple symbolizes the 10... so that's these. The apple symbolizes the 10 spheres on the Kabbalist tree of life. Apples also symbolize the forbidden fruit of knowledge and exploration. The fire floats above the ground. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually floating above the ground. The fire floats above the ground, which means the flames are a manifestation of will and desire, and not simply a physical phenomenon. So when we look at, I'm going to kill some cats. When we look at this initiate, or this version of the Fool, the similarities, you have, she's got
A knapsack.
a knapsack, if you will, and she's got, her journey is one of education, learning, right? You think about the initiate and going to, this whole theme of these cards is going to the school of magic. I think Hogwarts. It's kind of loosely themed around that. You see the school in the background where she's actually emerging from the forest to head off to school. She's got her, so now her animal is more of a familiar. It's, the bunny, think of Harry's owl in the Harry Potter series, but that's what the bunny means to her, as she begins on her new journey to, self-discovery, and discovering her magical side, if you would. So that's kind of what we see here.
Now, what other symbolism do you see that's a comparison between the two cards, other than the knapsack?
So
it's interesting that she walks along a path.
She's walking.
He walks along a path, the same kind of path, but two different types of paths, which is interesting.
Yeah, her path is leading her, and it's funny because she walks along a path, but she's actually, what I see is her stopping to rest before continuing onto her, the destination of, or the beginning of her real journey, and that's the education. That's the, the school in the background. What's funny is we do have behind the school some white mountains.
Mm-hmm. The challenges that she'll be facing in the future. She's
also dressed in white. That's that innocence and purity. Mm-hmm. That's how
Same as the rose.
She doesn't have a rose, but she's dressed in that white gown.
The bunny.
The bunny is kind of akin to the dog, mm-hmm. but I think it's a little bit different. I mean, yes, it may be encouraging her, but it's there to keep her company.
It's kind of like her familiar.
It is her familiar.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. And it will be traveling along with her on her journey.
Awesome. And then, actually, I just noticed, it's interesting, her setting, if you look, is at night,
mm-hmm.
whereas his is during the day.
Yep. Yep, you can see the crescent moon in the background.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So
well, if you think about it, they both represent a source of light, whether it's to illuminate the path. So whether it's the path of night or the path of light. So that's kind of interesting there. Cool.
Yeah, it's just an interesting contrast. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So as we all know, let me see my wand.
Mm-hmm.
The Fool represents new beginnings, about spontaneity, taking that first step into the unknown, infinite possibilities, birth of new ideas, and just going forth and going for it, not really caring what others think, about not worrying about issues that may arise later. It's about living in the moment.
You know what I see, though, which is another stark difference? If you look at the body language, mm-hmm. the Fool, he's ready to blindly walk off the cliff.
Right.
Not a care in the world. Where she's got that look of, it's almost like
she has a hidden secret. Like she knows where she's actually going.
She knows where she's going. She's excited about it, but she's also scared, right? She knows it's a big journey that she's going to be taking. So she's, hopeful that she's ready, but she definitely doesn't have that, hey, I'm going to go blindly into the, off the edge. I am going to make sure I'm ready. I'm, preparing myself mentally for the journey ahead because she actually knows where she's going.
Right.
Quite interesting. Hi, Jen. Say a few more highs. Hi, Sir Darkstorm. Hi, Marge. Hi, Silver Moon. Hi, Melissa. We said hi to Justin.
Hi, everybody. Feel free to chime in as well.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts or things that you didn't notice or things that we didn't catch when looking at the cards the first time as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next, let's now move on to the Magician.
The Magician.
So, here we have the Magician. Boop.
So here's our Magician
Let's just move
card.
this down a tiny bit. Okay. So, the Magician. So, with the Magician... Oh, where's the wand? Dave.
Here you go.
So, the Magician is number 1 in the deck. Oh, this is hard to do backwards when I can't really see. So, the 1 represents new beginnings and opportunities. Next, we have the hand up, pointing towards the universe. We have the hand down, pointing towards the earth. This represents the connection between spiritual and the material realms to manifest goals into the physical realm, also representing as above and so below. The white robe that he wears represents purity, whereas the red cloak represents worldly experience and his knowledge that he possesses. On the table here in front of the Magician contains all the tools needed to manifest his intentions, containing the 4 elements. As we see, we have the cup for water, pentacles for earth, the wand for fire, and the sword for air. The infinity symbol above the Magician represents access to the unlimited potential, whereas the flowers all around represents the blossoming of ideas and his aspirations that are coming into fruition.
Interesting. All right, and now the Wizard's Tarot Magician. There's a lot of similarities in this one. He also has the hand up in the air, as above, so below. He also has the infinity symbol above his head. A little bit different. You'll notice all of the elements around him. We've got the cup, we've got the pentacle, we've got the wand, and we have the sword. You'll see the flowers around him are red and white to represent the purity and the experience. He also, if you look, I'm going to take a little read here. The Magician is the master of the physical world. He's able to convert energy to matter and bend time and space in conformity with his will. The position of the Magician's arm, one up and one down, embodies the ancient maxim, as above, so below. So there's a similarity there. There's the belief that life on Earth reflects higher principles and ideas. As he works, the Magician is encircled by 4 powerful magic tools: a wand, a cup, a sword, and a pentacle. The fact that the tools are floating in the air suggests that the Magician has complete control over his tools and his talents.
That's interesting.
So very similar, but a little bit of differences.
Yeah, so as we see between the 2 cards, we obviously have the wand in both hands, as above, so below. We have the flowers at the feet, the infinity symbol. We have the same robe, but different colors.
Yeah, it's like a wizard's robe, yeah.
But then what I actually really love is the difference between the 2 cards is the fact that, yes, the tools that the Magician possesses are in front of him, but within this deck, it actually shows him using his skills that he possesses.
Yes.
Versus this one's just showing you, like, okay, so the tools are at your disposal, But in this deck, it's like the tools are in your disposal, but now use them to manifest your goals.
Yeah, he's using them.
And thus using them, he's causing the flowers to bloom as a result of his manifestation, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome sauce!
Awesome
So that is
sauce.
the magician
That
card.
is the magician.
So next...
So our
next we have the High Priestess. Bloop.
High Priestess.
So, the High Priestess, we have... Okay. Behind the High... Oh, geez. So, behind the High Priestess, we have the Veil. Right here. Right behind her. So, the Veil represents a separation of conscious as well as subconscious. The seen and unseen, in which only initiates can enter behind. We have the pomegranates, as you can see right here, which represent fertility and the divine feminine. The two pillars on either side of her represent light and dark, positive, negative, in a sense, duality. And it's this duality that must be accepted in order to enter the sacred space behind her. We have her robe with the crosses on it, or with the, not the crosses, the cross, that represents her status as a divine ruler. The sacred scroll, or the scroll that she carries with her, represents the sacred knowledge that only is revealed to an initiate when they're ready to look beyond the material realm. Hence why you only see partial of the scroll. And then finally, the crescent moon at her foot represents the natural cycles of the moon, intuition, as well as connection to the divine feminine. Now in Dave's card...
Interesting. So, let me do a quick read. You know, I'm going to read what the book says, and then I'll share my thoughts. The High Priestess is the embodiment of mystery. Like the ancient oracles and sibyls, she has the gift of prophecy. She can see into the next world and into the future. She makes an excellent teacher and a guide into the world of spiritual enlightenment. The High Priestess reads cards by the guiding light of the full moon. The High Priestess familiar, which is a black cat, chases the moth like a shadow chases light. The drapes on the window represent the veil between this world and the next. The High Priestess routinely parts the veil to see into other realms. So, yeah, when you look at it, and the drapes also represent duality, right? If you look here, you're right, you got the pillars, black and white pillars. Over here, you've got kind of opposing print patterns, if you would. And when I think, yeah, she's very esoteric. She's got, you know, some various crystal balls down here. She's got the hand symbol right there. And yes, she's actually reading cards. And very similar to the scroll, she's holding a book that could be like an ancient grimoire or something, or, you know, her journal or what have you. And there's also a moon, but she's reading by candlelight and moonlight, which which is the full moon, which represents that moon energy. That what am I thinking? The
subconscious?
No, like
intuition.
I guess the esoteric, the moon energy, the moon, the magic of mysticism, the mystical energy of the moon, right? And there's the cat chasing the moth. So it's similar but different. Yeah.
Yeah, because as you said earlier, so I'm just going to point these out, the differences. So obviously we have curtains instead of pillars. But if you notice, they still have the pomegranates on the print as well as on here. It's still white and dark. And then obviously we have the high priestess herself. We have the robe, but it's not as like prominent as this one. Do you think there's actually a reason for why she's facing away from us? Oh,
She's
I
facing
think
to the side.
she's facing to the side to represent the hidden part of the scroll. Because if you notice here, she does have a book, but it doesn't look as kind of
the
scrolly like
hidden,
knowledge as the scroll in mine.
So the difference between this high priestess here is she parts the veil. She's got that ability because she's more of a medium. Mm-hmm. So that's what, she's sitting, to the side to show us the parted veil. Right. And that's great. And that's kind of what I was getting at with the moon being very mystical, is kind of on the other side of the veil, right? The lunar, the night. So it's it's a little bit different, but I'm trying to get my mind around the cross here. It's I don't know if that's a priestess thing, but you don't see that here. And what I find also interesting is that she's also, has candlelight here, and there's also a feather on the death, which could represent fire and air. I don't see representations of earth and water, but she's got two of them there. Interesting.
Cool. Okay, next card. So next card here we have
the Empress.
The Empress.
Look at those Empresses.
So the Empress, as we see here, starting with the top of the Empress, we have the crown that contains 12 stars on her crown. These 12 stars represent the connection to the mystical realm as well as the cycles of the natural world, meaning like the 12 months within the year and the 12 planets. Her robe, obviously, is lined again with pomegranates, and as we know from before, pomegranates represent fertility. The heart down here with the sign on it is actually the symbol of Venus, which is the planet of love, creative energy, grace, beauty, and fertility.
It's also the feminine symbol too.
Yep, it's also the feminine symbol. Everything that encompasses who the Empress is. Mm-hmm. Behind the Empress is a forest with a little stream right behind her. This is the connection to Mother Earth and life itself, in which the Empress draws a sense of peace from. Hence why she's very, very calm. Mm-hmm. And then at her feet, she has wheat, which symbolizes abundance.
Okay. So this Empress, she's a little bit different, a little bit the same. You can see the crown that she has, very similar. And let's point out a couple of similarities. She's holding a chalice, and you can't see this. Let me see if I can bring this up. Can I give you guys a good chalice show? See on the chalice? That's the Venus sign. So she's got that there too. That represents the feminine and love and all that. She embodies the maternal. She embodies the maternal by kind of looking the part. She kind of looks a little pregnant, possibly, which is kind of a little different. There's no pomegranate there, so her fertility is represented literally by being motherly or being maternal. Let's not move the card. She does have the wheat to signify abundance. But she also has an abundance of flowers and little pixies and stuff all around her. So she's well loved. She's got the critters of the woods just all flying. There's a butterfly, a little pixie there. So she's really the center of her maternal universe here, with the caring and love for all around.
hold on. Can I pause for a second? Because I'm just starting to notice something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think each card in your deck actually represents? They're the personification of the actual card, like, amplified. So, for example, if
Yes,
you go
it's almost more
to
like a role
her,
play.
she's kind of pregnant, and she's wearing all green, surrounded by all earth things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like she is Mother Earth herself. If we go back to the, what was right before this? The High Priestess, she was the tarot reader. She represents the mysticism itself. If you go back to the card before that, which was the Magician, he was actually casting the spells. He is in control of the magic that he possesses. He is magic itself. Yes. Oh, this is so cool to actually know that.
Let me read a bit on the Empress. The Empress teaches herbal magic from her sunlit arboretum, where the spirit of nature is fully engaged in the magic of creation. Perpetually pregnant, she is the embodiment of fertility and creativity. Her posture and position might remind you of the saying, "The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world." Remember that some creative projects take months to develop. They take shape gradually. And even after they're born, they need to be nurtured and protected until they can stand on their own. So it's a very, very embodiment of that maternal instinct there.
That's pretty cool. Sorry, hold on, this just fell. Right. Okay. So next, guys, we have... hold on, let me just... The Emperor.
The Emperor.
So this is interesting because now Dave and I are actually doing a true comparison. So the first few cards that we showed before, Dave and I actually did a comparison beforehand because I was like talking to him about the symbolism, and then he was like, oh, but let's see what it compares to my deck. And then that's how we came up with the idea of doing a side-by-side comparison between two different decks of the symbolism that we see.
Got some good ideas coming out of these brains.
So now all the cards after are literally like, I've never compared to this card before.
Never seen them.
So if we zoom in on the Emperors. So as we look at the Emperor, we notice in his, this is backwards, right hand, he holds the Ankh. The Ankh is the Egyptian symbol for life. In his left hand, he holds the orb. The orb represents the world of which he rules over. He wears a red robe, which symbolizes power, passion, and energy for life. The armor he wears represents protection from threats, emotional responses, and defense against vulnerability. Hence his super ability to basically, what's the word, Dave? He's
I don't know.
His strength. It represents his strength, yes. Pretty much. The white beard shows his age, obviously, but along with that, it shows the Emperor's wisdom and experience in life. The gold crown that sits upon his head represents his authority and that he demands to be heard by all. Ooh. The mountains in the background that are kind of slightly hidden, but they're on either side of the chair or the throne, represents a solid foundation, and that the king only makes changes if they are deemed necessary, and that he is very tough as an individual, but has a very soft exterior on the inside when you get to know him. The rams that you see on the throne represent Aries, which is the ram, and is the first sign in the zodiac. It is the infant who naturally follows the Empress.
So let's dive into my Emperor. The Emperor represents order and control. He's an ambitious ruler, a tireless commander, and a charismatic visionary. He is willful and stubborn, confident, courageous, and strong. He governs through logic, reason, and will. The Emperor's desk is carved from a solid block of marble. It's the essence of structure and stability, and it's practically as immovable as the emperor himself. The shape of the desk also suggests the cube of space, a metaphoric shape of the universe. So if you look at this emperor, he's kind of like I see him as a little bit, he's every bit the emperor, but he's kind of a lot like me. He likes to do things a little different. He's got the orb in his right hand. And not so much.
I wonder why it's the opposite.
Yeah, not so much an ankh, but that looks like a staff, if you would.
It's like a scepter.
Like a scepter in his left.
Actually, I read that in some decks, it's not an ankh, it may be a scepter.
A scepter. Yeah, so he's got the scepter. Now, he's dressed in, a gold robe with, a gold, I think that's more of a tunic, and a bluish robe. But he's not wearing any armor. He doesn't even have a crown. He's kind of one of those emperors that, I don't want to say more of a simplistic, but I just kind of, again, with the theme of things, he's more on the magical side, right? His protection comes from within, or from the magic that he creates. He's very esoteric, very magical. You can see, it's kind of like an aurora behind him out the window. And, he's got like on his desk, that's the marble desk, but he also has, I believe that's like a map.
Yep, that's a map.
It's like a map of the world. So, he's very knowledgeable as well. Quite interesting.
Let me see. So, because one thing I notice is in this card, as we said with the strength, because that's what the Emperor mostly encompasses, is the strength and authority. In my card, it's shown of force. It's like he is like, I am here, I am protected, I am strong. With Dave's card, it's about the subtle strength, that it's not always something that you have to show in someone's face, being like, I'm strong, I'm protected.
Yeah, it's more it's more strength by like action. It's just being strong instead of saying I'm strong.
Right.
He's like the emperor that's not
all
on
show
the throne.
And no talk.
he's the emperor that's not sitting on a throne. He's with his people. He's like a man of the people, if you would.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting. Yeah, the Wizard's Tarot deck is quite... I love the difference. The next card.
So up next here we have the Hierophant.
And this is a very interesting Hierophant. Look at what we have here. And I am going to go back to the phone.
There we go.
To the thing. I'm going to read about this Hierophant. Here's your wand.
The phone. Or my wand. My pointer. So, starting with the crown again. So, the Hierophant wears a 3-tiered crown and has a 3-tiered robe. Both represents the 3 worlds he resides over. The conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correct, the Popple cross, which is in his left hand right here, represents his religious status within the religious community. I wasn't really sure how to say that. So his raised hand over here represents a religious blessing for the 2 figures that we see. In his hand, actually, and the fingering position, if you can't really see that, he has 2 fingers pointed up towards the heaven and 2 fingers pointed down towards the earth. The 2 men we see in the photo represent a shared group identity between the 3 and the rites of passage to enter the next level. Because as you notice, the Hierophant card is similar to that of the High Priestess. The only difference is this pillar is not the same as the one of the Empress. So with the Empress, in order to gain access to the whatever was behind the hidden veil, you needed to accept and embrace duality. Within the Emperor, or not the Emperor, the Hierophant card, you need to, I guess, go through rites of passage in order to get to that next step. And then finally, at the very bottom, if you don't see that, there are 2 crossed keys. These 2 crossed keys represent balance between the subconscious and the conscious minds, and unlocking of the mysteries which only he can teach.
Oh, interesting with the teaching. So here's a little bit on my Hierophant. The professor of mythology doesn't just teach the subject; he's part of it. Chiron was and is an immortal being, right? You notice he's got like hooves. He's a Chiron. When Hercules accidentally shot Chiron with a poison arrow, however, his immortality condemned him to suffering without end. As Chiron sought relief for his crippling injuries, he accumulated a vast store of medical knowledge. He shared that wisdom with others, which led to his legendary reputation as the wounded healer. Typically, the Hierophant card symbolizes teaching, tradition, inspiration, and revelation. And that's kind of, when I see this card, I see teaching, I see knowledge. He just has that professor look. He's got a book like he's reading from to teach. He's sharing of information. So that's what that there represents. You'll notice in here there's also pillars on the side. And again, there's the starry sky right through the window with 2, I'm assuming those are like white doves.
Yep.
Which kind of symbolizes the purity, the healing aspect of this Hierophant.
Oh, are those keys?
Where?
Or is that a key right there?
That may be. Hold on, let me see.
Oh yeah, they're keys. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
so he's got keys. Yeah, right there.
So the keys are still there in the photo. And what the keys represent again? Keys represented... Oh, the balance between conscious and subconscious, as well as unlocking the mysteries in which only he can teach. Hence, actually, why it makes more sense that the keys are on him versus at his feet. Because, like, in this card, they're just at his feet. It's like, okay, anyone can snatch. So it's like, it kind of is almost like, okay, he's not the only one that can teach.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dave's card, they're on him and secured. So it's like, only he has access to the balance between conscious and subconscious.
Yeah, he's the perpetual teacher. He is the one that will teach and mentor and guide, if you would.
It's kind of interesting because when you think about it, it's like the High Priestess is almost a mirror image and female counterpart to the Hierophant, whereas the High Priestess is the protector and guardian of sacred knowledge. It's kind of like the Hierophant is the protector and teacher of more of like the religious, esoteric.
The esoteric knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. Interesting. Good dokes.
And moving on.
Moving on. Oop, not the card.
Oh.
So up next, guys, we have the Lovers.
Card.
Ooh, nakey.
Oh, yeah.
Nakey.
Hands off Snakey.
Okie dokie. So,
Have a
as
sip of
we
tea.
see... Oh, yeah, sure, here.
I'm like, ugh, I need to get some tea. I'm feeling...
So, in this card here, we have an angel right here. So beautiful. But it's not just any angel. This angel is actually that of Raphael, which means God heals. And Raphael represents physical as well as emotional healing. and to remind the man and woman of the union with the divine, as well as with each other. We have the landscape, which is kind of like the trees, and then the landscape here, which is meant to kind of be that of the Garden of Eden. We have the woman here with a tree and a snake, kind of like in the Garden of Eden. The snake and the tree represents temptation. Oh, the temptation of sensual pleasures. With the man, we have the tree here, which represents passion as well as as the primary concerns of the man, and the 12 flames that are on this tree represent the 12 zodiac signs, which is the symbol of time and eternity. Now, what's actually kind of interesting is if you look at their gaze. Oh, geez, where? So we see the man. He actually is looking at the woman. Wow. The woman is looking up at the angel, and the angel is looking at us. Or wait. Oh, no. He might be looking back down at the man. So, oh no, he is looking at us. So this represents the path of a triangle, or the path of three. So we have the path of conscious to subconscious to superconscious, as well as physical desire to emotional needs to spiritual concerns. And then, of course, the volcano in the background just simply represents the eruption of passion between man and women when they get naked together and all hot and bothered.
You know what I just realized with the Wizard's Tower is a lot of the main characters in the cards are professors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, one thing I just wanted to point out, I don't know if you noticed this, that I was just checking on the chat, that Serana pointed out, is that my deck is heavily influenced in that of Christianity, whereas yours is more of paganism.
Well, mine is, yeah, it's witchcraft and wizardry. It's
Paganism.
It's got a, it's got a, I think it was inspired literally by like Harry Potter and Hogwarts, because if you read the story of the cards, it's called Mandrake University. That's where the initiate is going to class, where she's heading off to. Anyways, the professor of spellcraft will help you reclaim the magical power of the written word. You notice that they're writing. The professor embodies the lyric charm and beauty of the written word. She's beautiful and ageless like Aphrodite, the goddess of love. The Lover's card can symbolize love, romance, and marriage. The Lover's card also signifies a choice to be made between competing drives and desires. The young lovers in the image illustrate the twin principles of action and reaction, yin and yang, and give and take, right? So you look at any loving relationship and marriage, that's all about give and take. So again, now when you look at this card, you can't really tell, but these are both apple trees, and she is holding an apple. That symbolizes the give and the take of love and relationship. Mm-hmm. It almost has a presiding sort of, well, this card does too. She's almost like presiding. You think about it as professor, and these are the lovers, but of course they're students. And then the books in the front, that kind of reinforces that that theme of teaching and education, mm-hmm. where harkens back to the written, because she's the, as was said, she is the what did they use? She possesses the magical power of the written word, right? Contract, right? Marriage is a contract. It symbolizes, that contract symbolizes the give and take, needed in a relationship or that yin and yang.
Cool. Okie dokie, guys. So it has been, I think, 45 minutes, right? No, wait.
It has been...
What time did I start? 6:30?
It has been 45 minutes.
Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes, guys. So I think we're going to stop there for now. And then, so we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 6 cards. And then tomorrow we will do the next 6. So the next 6 after this, we have the Chariot, the Strength, the Hermit. What's after the Hermit?
Hold on, I can tell you.
Hold on.
So, the Chariot, Strength,
Hermit,
Wheel of Fortune,
Justice, and the Hanged Man.
Oh, I can't wait to get to the Hanged Man.
Oh, I'm so excited for Hanged Man and Death and Devil. Those are like, and the Tower. Those are like my favorite cards.
Well, oh yeah. Well, no, the thing is, because of how different the Wizard's Tarot representation of those cards.
So it'll be interesting to see what the differences are between the decks and the symbolism within them. Okay, no, guys. So, do I want to continue to do this? What do you guys think? Do you want me to do this every Thursday, or did you want me to do this kind of... Yeah, I think I'll probably do this every
keep it
Thursday.
regular.
Yeah, I'll do it every Thursday thing. So from now on, guys, I'm going to be doing Tarot Thursday symbolism. Obviously, every Thursday. I might go a little bit later, so just because, obviously, I get out of work, it takes me about 30 minutes to get home. Sometimes if I get a client, then I won't be able to get home as fast. So instead of stressing myself out.
It was very stressful because, Lucian uses the same software that I use. I basically had to load it on the laptop, configure it, all this stuff, and like, hurry. That's why we're a little bit late, because it takes a lot to get it going.
Right.
But, don't Lucian love his card.
Thank you.
So,
yeah. So I will be going... Oh, I just realized I can do... Oh, no, wrong one. I can do that. So I will be going live around 7:30-ish every Thursday night for Tarot Symbolism.
Okay.
So I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something.
Don't forget, like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe.
And don't forget, like and subscribe The Wizard's Tower.
Check out his channel.
We're doing the popcorn party Saturday. I gotta go. We need a guest. Taking volunteers for a guest. And we'll have a lot to talk about because we've got the gem show on Saturday.
Oh yes, we have a gem show coming up.
Fun.
So that will be a lot of fun to show you, tell you guys about our experience for our first ever Rhode Island gem show that we're going to.
Yes, and don't forget, on Monday, I will be doing the next part of my series on dreams and astral travel. We did the first one. If you haven't seen it, check out my channel. Watch the first one, because they're going to build on each other. It's almost like it's a series, and very interesting stuff. Can't wait for Monday. Well, I can wait for Monday because it's a work day, but I can't wait for that live.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, guys.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you again next Thursday for Tarot Symbolism, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.